Tonight, as you settle into the quiet comfort of evening, step outside for just a moment and look up. There it hangs, silent, luminous, and eternal. The moon. For as long as humans have walked this earth, it has been our constant companion, rising and setting with clockwork precision, pulling at our tides, marking our months, and stirring something deep in our collective soul. But what if everything we think we know about that pale, cratered sphere is wrong? What if the moon isn't the natural satellite we've always believed it to be, but something far more extraordinary and far more unsettling? This mysterious moon that has watched over countless generations, that has inspired poets and guided sailors, that has been the backdrop for first kisses and wedding proposals. What if it's actually a captured alien ship, disguised as celestial rock, silently observing our every move? It sounds like the stuff of science fiction, doesn't it? The realm of conspiracy theory and late-night speculation. Yet this question has captivated not just dreamers and theorists, but serious scientists, researchers, and anyone who has ever gazed up at the night sky and felt that something about our moon just doesn't quite add up. Consider this. Of all the moons in our solar system, ours is uniquely strange. It's too large relative to its parent planet, too perfectly positioned to create total solar eclipses, too precisely placed to stabilize Earth's wobble. Coincidence? Perhaps. Or perhaps there's a more extraordinary explanation hiding behind that familiar, cratered face. The moon has been humanity's silent witness for millennia, but witnesses work both ways. If the moon can observe us, what if something within it has been observing us back? What if that gentle glow isn't just reflected sunlight, but the running lights of the most sophisticated spacecraft ever conceived? But what if the moon's familiar face was just a mask, hiding an unimaginable secret? Before we dismiss such ideas as modern fantasy, we must listen to the whispers that echo from humanity's distant past. Deep in the archives of ancient civilizations lie stories that should give us pause, tales that speak of a time when the night sky looked very different than it does today. Ancient Greeks preserved accounts from their earliest historians of a people, called the proselenes, literally, those who lived before the moon. These texts described a golden age when Earth had no lunar companion, when the night sky held only stars and the dance of planets. Then, according to these ancient sources, something changed. The moon appeared to travel across the world to ancient Mesopotamia, and similar stories emerge from Sumerian tablets. Clay records thousands of years old speak of a second sun that arrived in the heavens, bringing with it changes to the tides, the seasons, and the very rhythm of life on Earth. The Sumerians, master astronomers who mapped the movements of celestial bodies with startling precision, recorded this as a historical event, not a myth. Perhaps most intriguing are the oral traditions of the Zulu people of South Africa. Their ancestral stories tell of a time when the night was darker, when women's cycles followed different rhythms, when the ocean's tides moved to an older beat. Then, their legends say, the great starship came, positioning itself in the sky to watch over the Earth and its children. Starship, not moon. Ship. These aren't isolated tales from a single culture inventing creation myths. These are consistent accounts from civilizations separated by continents and millennia, all describing the same impossible event, the arrival of the moon. Modern science tells us the moon has orbited Earth for over 4 billion years, formed shortly after our planet itself. But what if these ancient memories preserve something different? What if they remember not the moon's formation, but its arrival? The ancient Sanskrit texts of India speak of Soma, the moon god, as a traveler from distant realms who chose to dwell in Earth's sky. The Mayans recorded precise calculations of lunar cycles, but also preserved stories of sky beings who placed a great eye in the heavens to watch over human development. Even in Norse mythology, the moon is described not as a natural body, but as a construction of the gods, placed deliberately in the sky for purposes beyond mortal understanding. Could these myths be the faint memory of something extraordinary, an arrival in our skies? Now let us turn from ancient whispers to modern measurements, from mythology to mathematics. Because when scientists began studying the moon with instruments rather than just naked eyes, they discovered something unsettling. Our lunar companion defies nearly every rule that should govern natural satellite formation. Start with size. The moon is massive, not just large for Earth's satellite, but impossibly large. It's 1/4 the diameter of our planet, making the Earth-Moon system less like a planet and its satellite, and more like a double planet. No other moon in our solar system comes close to this proportion. Jupiter's moons, despite that giant planet's immense mass, are tiny by comparison. Yet somehow, little Earth managed to capture and hold an object of such extraordinary size. Then there's the orbit itself. The moon circles Earth in an almost perfectly circular path, at just the right distance to appear exactly the same size as the sun in our sky. This creates those breathtaking total solar eclipses where the moon's disk covers the sun's disk with mathematical precision. The odds of this happening naturally are astronomical, quite literally. It's as if someone positioned the moon with a cosmic ruler, measuring the distances to create this spectacular celestial coincidence. But perhaps most puzzling is what happened when the Apollo missions began taking measurements of the moon's interior. The seismic instruments left behind by lunar landing teams recorded something that shouldn't be possible. When spent rocket stages were deliberately crashed into the moon's surface, the entire moon rang like a bell, reverberating for hours, in a way that suggested a hollow interior. Structure Dr. Clive Ross of NASA described the phenomenon as if someone had struck a bell with a hammer in a church belfry. The vibrations lasted far longer than they should have if the moon were a solid rock throughout. Some seismic waves traveled around the moon's interior in patterns that suggested vast empty spaces within, chambers that could house cities. Or something far more extraordinary, the moon's density provides another clue to this puzzle. Despite its size, the moon is much less dense than Earth, suggesting it's not made of the same materials or assembled in the same way. If the moon formed from debris blasted off Earth by a massive impact, the current scientific consensus, why is its internal structure so different from our planet's? Even more intriguing are the materials found in moon rocks brought back by Apollo astronauts. Some contain metals and isotopes that are rare on Earth, arranged in patterns that suggest extremely high temperature processing, the kind that might result from advanced manufacturing rather than natural formation. NASA's own data reveals magnetic anomalies scattered across the moon's surface in geometric patterns that seem too regular to be natural. Some of these anomalies are arranged in straight lines stretching for hundreds of miles, while others form shapes that look almost architectural. If the data is true, who or what built such a structure? Let us now venture into the realm of the extraordinary and examine what might be the most audacious theory ever proposed about our celestial companion. What if the moon isn't a moon at all, but a massive alien spacecraft? A vessel so vast and sophisticated that it has successfully masqueraded as a natural satellite for millennia. This captured ship hypothesis suggests that sometime in Earth's distant past, an enormous extraterrestrial vessel arrived in our solar system. Perhaps it was fleeing some cosmic catastrophe, or maybe it was part of a survey mission exploring young planetary systems. For reasons we can only imagine, this ship needed to establish a stable position near Earth, close enough to observe, study, or protect our world, yet far enough to avoid detection by any primitive life forms below. The engineering required for such a feat would be beyond our comprehension. Picture a spacecraft not the size of our largest rockets or space stations, but comparable to a small world itself. Its hull would need to be constructed from materials stronger than any we know, perhaps metamaterials that could withstand the gravitational stresses of orbital mechanics while maintaining structural integrity across thousands of miles. The propulsion system would be equally extraordinary. To maneuver such a massive object into a stable orbit around Earth would require either impossibly powerful engines or a mastery of gravitational manipulation that makes our physics look like cave paintings. The ship's builders would need to calculate orbital mechanics with precision that accounts for not just Earth's gravity, but the gravitational influences of the Sun, other planets, and even the asteroids drifting through space. But why disguise it as a natural moon? The answer might lie in the prime directive that governs many science fiction scenarios: the need to observe without interfering. A massive alien ship hanging obviously in Earth's sky would have shaped human development in unpredictable ways. Religious systems, scientific advancement, social structures, Everything would have evolved differently under the obvious gaze of extraterrestrial technology. By camouflaging their vessel as a natural satellite, these alien builders could conduct their observations while allowing human civilization to develop along more natural lines. They could study us, protect us, or simply wait, all while remaining hidden behind a facade of cratered rock and reflected sunlight. The moon's influence on Earth might not be coincidental, but carefully calculated. Its gravitational pull stabilizes our planet's axial tilt, preventing the extreme climate variations that would make complex life difficult to sustain. It creates tides that may have been crucial for life's migration from sea to land billions of years ago. It provides light during dark nights, extending the productive hours for early human societies. What if all of this was by design? What if the moon wasn't captured by Earth's gravity, but positioned there deliberately by intelligence that understood exactly how to nurture a world toward complexity and consciousness? The vessel might contain entire cities within its hollow interior, research stations, living quarters, manufacturing facilities, or vast computer systems processing centuries of observational data. The geometric magnetic anomalies detected by our instruments could be the signatures of massive internal structures, power systems, or communication arrays. And if it really was placed there, who was it meant for, them or us? Who could construct such an impossible vessel? Who could engineer a spacecraft the size of a world and position it with such precision that it has fooled an entire planet for millennia? To answer this, we must stretch our imagination to encompass civilizations so advanced that their technology appears as magic to our primitive understanding. Perhaps they were ancient extraterrestrials, beings who had mastered space travel when our solar system was still young and chaotic. These cosmic architects might have witnessed the formation of planets, the birth of stars, and the delicate dance of gravitational forces that shapes entire galaxies. They would understand engineering on a scale we can barely comprehend, treating moons and asteroids as building materials, redirecting comets as easily as we dig canals. Their motivation could have been scientific, a vast research project designed to study the evolution of life on promising worlds. Earth, with its stable star, protective magnetic field, and abundant water, would have been an obvious candidate for such study. The moon ship could be their research station, positioned at the perfect distance to observe without interfering, equipped with instruments sensitive enough to detect the chemical signatures of life developing in our ancient oceans. But what if the builders weren't aliens at all, but something far stranger, humans from a distant future who have learned to travel not just through space, but through time itself? These temporal architects might have journeyed backward through history to position their observation post at the very beginning of human development. They would know exactly where to place their vessel because they would already know how our story unfolds. This would explain the moon's seemingly miraculous beneficial effects on Earth's development. Future humans would understand precisely what conditions were needed for their own past to evolve properly. They would position their time ship to stabilize Earth's climate, create the tidal forces necessary for life's advancement, and provide the celestial lighthouse that would guide their ancestors through the dark millennia of early civilization. Ancient cultures around the world preserve remarkably similar stories of sky gods, star people, and watchers from above. The Mesopotamian Anunnaki, the Hindu Vimanas, the Native American star nations, the African Dogon's knowledge of Sirius. Could all of these be cultural memories of contact with the moon's inhabitants? Not necessarily physical contact, but the subtle influence of advanced beings observing and occasionally guiding human development from their concealed orbital platform. Modern UFO encounters might represent not visits from distant worlds, but brief appearances by the moon's residents, surveys and monitoring missions launched from their hidden base just 240,000 miles above our heads. The classic flying saucer shape reported in so many UFO sightings could be small atmospheric craft designed for planetary surveillance, launched from bays within the moon's hollow interior and returning there after completing their observations. The builders, whether alien or human, would possess technology that transcends our understanding of physics. They would manipulate gravity as easily as we manipulate electricity, bend spacetime as casually as we bend metal, and orchestrate the movements of celestial bodies with the precision of cosmic choreographers. But if these builders still exist within their lunar vessel, why haven't they revealed themselves? Are they waiting for humanity to reach some predetermined level of development? Are they bound by cosmic laws that forbid direct intervention? Or are they simply content to watch and wait? Patient, as only immortal beings can be patient, observing the grand experiment of consciousness as it unfolds on the blue world below. But the most unsettling question remains: why are they still silent? The search for evidence of the moon's true nature leads us into shadowy territories where official denials meet persistent whispers, where classified documents hint at discoveries too extraordinary for public consumption. While NASA maintains that all lunar missions have found only rock and regolith, some researchers point to anomalies that suggest a more complex truth. During the Apollo missions, astronauts reported several incidents that never made it into the official transcripts. Radio communications included references to strange lights on the lunar surface, geometric structures visible in crater shadows, and what some described as clearly artificial constructions. These transmissions were allegedly edited from public broadcasts, leaving only sanitized versions for civilian consumption. The most intriguing evidence comes from the seismic data collected by instruments left on the moon's surface. Beyond the bell-like ringing that suggested a hollow interior, these sensitive devices detected rhythmic vibrations that seemed to originate from deep within the moon, patterns too regular to be natural tectonic activity. Some researchers have analyzed these signals and found what they claim are mathematical relationships embedded in the timing, as if the moon itself were transmitting coded messages. Photographs taken by lunar orbiters have captured features that defy easy explanation. Long, straight lines stretch across crater floors in patterns that look suspiciously like runways or transportation corridors. Geometric shapes appear in the perpetual shadows of polar craters, rectangles and triangles too perfect to be natural rock formations. Most intriguingly, some images show what appear to be straight-edged structures rising from the lunar surface, casting shadows that suggest artificial construction. The most persistent rumors center on Apollo 20, a mission that NASA claims was canceled due to budget cuts. Conspiracy researchers insist that this mission actually took place in secret, tasked with investigating a massive artificial structure discovered on the moon's far side. Allegedly, the crew found evidence of ancient technology, machinery so old it had become fossilized, structures that suggested the moon had indeed been constructed rather than naturally formed. Radio telescopes have detected unusual signals from the moon's direction, not random cosmic noise, but structured transmissions that suggest intelligence behind their creation. These signals are often dismissed as interference from Earth-based technology reflecting off the moon's surface. But some researchers note that the signals include frequencies and modulations that don't match any known terrestrial technology. Perhaps most intriguing are the reports of amateur astronomers who have observed lights moving across the moon's surface in patterns that suggest intelligence. These lights appear as brief flashes or moving points that travel in straight lines or geometric patterns before disappearing. While skeptics attribute these to meteor impacts or observational errors, the reports are numerous enough and consistent enough to suggest something more systematic might be occurring. The classified nature of much lunar research adds fuel to these speculative fires. Documents released under Freedom of Information Act requests are heavily redacted, with entire sections blacked out whenever they reference certain lunar features or discoveries. Why would routine geological findings require such secrecy? What could have been discovered on the moon that would necessitate classification at the highest levels of government? Some researchers point to the sudden shift in space policy following the Apollo missions. After successfully reaching the moon, humanity abruptly stopped going there. No other nation has attempted crewed lunar missions since 1972. Official explanations cite cost and lack of scientific value. But skeptics wonder if something was discovered that made continuing lunar exploration either too dangerous or too sensitive to pursue publicly. If something is hidden there, what could be powerful enough to keep it from us? Imagine tomorrow morning's headlines flashing across every screen, every newspaper, every digital display on Earth. Moon confirmed as alien spacecraft. The discovery that our familiar celestial companion is actually an extraterrestrial vessel would shatter every assumption about our place in the universe, and transform human civilization. Overnight, the immediate response would be chaos. Stock markets would crash as investors fled to precious metals and survival supplies. Religious institutions worldwide would struggle to reconcile their doctrines with the reality of advanced alien presence. Governments would scramble to reassess every space policy, every defense strategy, every diplomatic relationship in light of this cosmic revelation. But beneath the initial panic would emerge something far more profound, a fundamental shift in human consciousness. We would no longer be alone, no longer the presumed masters of our cosmic neighborhood. Every night sky would become a reminder that advanced intelligence had been watching our species develop for millennia, observing our wars and achievements, our art and our failures. With patient alien eyes, the scientific implications would be staggering. Every physics textbook would require revision as we confronted technology that violates our understanding of engineering and energy. The hollow moon would become humanity's greatest archaeological site, potentially containing scientific knowledge accumulated over geological ages. Teams of researchers would compete for the privilege of exploring chambers that might house the accumulated wisdom of a civilization millions of years more advanced than our own. Military strategists would face unprecedented challenges. How do you defend against beings who have demonstrated the ability to move worlds? What conventional weapons could threaten a vessel that has withstood billions of years of meteor impacts and cosmic radiation? The very concept of national defense would become obsolete in the face of technology that transcends earthly borders and capabilities. Yet perhaps most transformative would be the spiritual and philosophical revolution. Humanity would need to confront the humbling reality that we are not the universe's chosen species, not the pinnacle of evolution, not the center of cosmic attention we have imagined ourselves to be. We would be the observed, the studied, the younger species under the patient gaze of our mysterious guardians. The moon's role in human history would take on new meaning. Every cultural advancement, every technological breakthrough, every step towards space exploration would be re-examined through the lens of possible alien influence. Did the beings in the moonship subtly guide human development? Were certain individuals throughout history in contact with these observers? Have they been slowly preparing us for eventual revelation? Communication attempts would become humanity's highest priority. Radio telescopes would be redirected toward the moon, broadcasting mathematical sequences, musical compositions, and digital representations of human culture. We would strain to decode any response, desperate to understand the intentions of beings who have watched us for so long while remaining silent. Some would demand immediate exploration, arguing that humanity deserves to know what lies within the moon's hollow chambers. Others would counsel caution, fearing that forced entry might be seen as hostile action by beings whose technology could easily destroy our world. The debate would divide nations, political parties, and families as we grappled with the greatest question in human history. How do we approach gods who masquerade as worlds? Would we embrace the truth or collapse under it? But what if we've been thinking about this all wrong? What if the moonship isn't a threat at all, but humanity's greatest protector, a cosmic guardian that has been silently ensuring our survival for millions of years? Consider the moon's extraordinary beneficial effects on Earth's habitability. Its gravitational pull stabilizes our planet's axial tilt, preventing the extreme climate fluctuations that would make complex life nearly impossible. Without this stabilization, Earth would wobble chaotically, causing ice ages and scorching periods that would reset evolution repeatedly. Never allowing intelligence to develop, the moon creates our tides. And those tides may have been essential for life's migration from ocean to land. The rhythmic ebb and flow created tidal pools where early organisms could adapt to air exposure, developing the capabilities that would eventually allow life to colonize the continents. Without tidal forces, Earth might have remained a water world with only simple marine life. More subtly, the moon acts as a cosmic shield. Its gravitational influence deflects asteroids and comets that might otherwise impact Earth with civilization-ending force. Some researchers suggest that the moon has prevented dozens of major extinction events throughout Earth's history, quietly redirecting cosmic threats away from our fragile biosphere. What if these protective functions aren't coincidental, but the primary purpose of the moon ship? Ancient alien engineers might have positioned their vessel not to study Earth, but to nurture it, to create the precise conditions necessary for intelligence to evolve in safety. They would be cosmic gardeners, tending to a young world with the patience of immortal beings. This protective mission would explain the moon's remarkable positioning. The aliens would have calculated the exact orbital distance needed to create tidal forces without causing destructive ocean surges. They would have determined the precise mass required to stabilize Earth's rotation without slowing it so much that one hemisphere would face the sun permanently. The hollow interior of the moon ship might house vast computational systems continuously monitoring Earth's climate, volcanic activity, and cosmic environment. When threats arise, whether from solar flares, asteroid impacts, or internal geological instabilities, the ship's systems might intervene subtly, perhaps using technology we can't detect to nudge Earth away from danger. These silent guardians might have been waiting for humanity to reach sufficient maturity before revealing themselves. They could be watching for signs that we've developed beyond tribal warfare, environmental destruction, and nuclear brinksmanship. Perhaps they're waiting for us to demonstrate that we can be trusted with cosmic citizenship before welcoming us into a larger galactic community. The moon's influence on human consciousness might be part of this guardianship. Its cycles regulate biological rhythms, inspire artistic creation, and provide a celestial timekeeper that helped early civilizations develop mathematics and astronomy. The romantic associations with the moon might reflect a deeper programming, an unconscious recognition that this guardian presence deserves our affection and reverence. But if the moon is indeed our protector, its silence becomes even more meaningful. True guardians don't announce their presence or demand gratitude. They simply serve, quietly and efficiently, ensuring their charges can develop naturally. The greatest gift they could give humanity would be the freedom to grow without knowing we're being protected if the moon guards us. What happens when the guardians return? As we reach the end of our journey through possibility and wonder, step outside once more and look up at the moon. There it hangs, as it has every night throughout your life, throughout every human life that has ever been. Constant, familiar, seemingly eternal. But now, perhaps, you see it differently. Perhaps that gentle glow carries new questions, new possibilities, new mysteries that transform the ordinary act of moon gazing into something profound. Whether our lunar companion is a natural satellite born from cosmic collision or an alien vessel disguised as stone and regolith, it remains one of the universe's greatest enigmas. The moon shapes our world in ways both obvious and subtle. It pulls at our oceans with invisible hands, creating the rhythmic breathing of tides that have marked time since the first life stirred in primordial seas. It stabilizes our planet's wobbling dance through space, ensuring that seasons remain predictable and climate stays within bounds that allow complexity to flourish in human cultures across the globe and throughout history. The moon has been lover and mother, timekeeper and guide, muse and mystery. We have projected our deepest longings onto its silver surface, seen faces and rabbits and goddesses in its familiar patterns of light and shadow. It has inspired countless poems, countless dreams, countless moments of wonder as humans throughout the ages have looked up and felt connected to something larger than themselves. In human cultures across the globe and throughout history, the moon has been lover and mother, timekeeper and guide, muse and mystery. We have projected our deepest longings onto its silver surface, seen faces and rabbits and goddesses in its familiar patterns of light and shadow. It has inspired countless poems, countless dreams, countless moments of wonder as humans throughout the ages have looked up and felt connected to something larger than themselves. Whether the moon is natural or artificial, whether it houses alien observers or future humans or simply empty stone, it continues to serve its ancient function as humanity's patient companion. It rises each night to remind us that we are part of something vast and mysterious, that our small blue world dances through space in harmony with forces beyond our complete understanding. The beauty of the moon's mystery lies not in finding definitive answers, but in remaining open to infinite possibilities. Science may eventually settle the question of our satellite's origin. But until that day, we are free to wonder, free to imagine, free to let our minds explore territories as vast and unknown as the moon's hidden interior. In the quiet moments before sleep, when the moon's light streams through your window and casts familiar shadows on familiar walls, remember that you are witnessing one of the universe's great performances. Whether that light is purely reflected sunshine or something more extraordinary, it connects you to every human who has ever lived, every dreamer who has ever wondered, every seeker who has ever looked up at the night sky and asked the eternal question, what if? The moon keeps its secrets well, as all the best mysteries do. It offers us just enough evidence to fuel our speculation, just enough strangeness to keep us wondering, just enough beauty to ensure we never stop looking up. And perhaps that's exactly as it should be. Next time you see the moon, ask yourself, is it only reflecting sunlight or watching us back?